Hello everybody. We are going through the list of the pre-mades. We're going to do Desert Oasis next. So since this is a pre-made, we're going to do the deck tech first. This is basically a ramp explorer type deck. And you got a couple of 1-drops here, just Rebel Belt Maverick to enter the battlefield and surveil 2, but you can also exile it from your graveyard and get a +1/+1 counter on target creature. The Explorer feature allows you to look at the top of your deck, you get a land in your hand, or you get a +1/+1 counter. This is a potential good one if you can save up long enough to have 5 or 6 extra mana. Jadelight Spelunker, when it enters the battlefield, it explores X number of times. So then, a lot of this other stuff is kind of okay. Rivered Herald Scout explores. Bristly Bill is a mythic rare. If you get it down to the very beginning and it's not removed right away, this can run away with an entire battle in and of itself because it has landfall. You can put counters on it. By the time you get to 5 land, you can double the number of counters on each creature you control. It synergizes well with the stuff that's in the rest of this deck. A little bit of ramp with Root Rider Fawn to add 1 mana of any color. Waterwind Scout. Flying creates a map token that allows you to explore. And 3 forms of interaction here with 3 copies of Huatli's Final Strike. 1 Outcaster Greenblade to get search for a basic land or a desert land. Rivered Herald Guide, Vigilance and Exploring, Sentinel of Nameless City, 3/4 with Vigilance and Exploring. Well, creating a map token which allows you to explore, I should say. 1 case of the Locked Hothouse to play an additional land on each of your turns. If you get up to 7 lands, you can look at the top card of your library anytime, play lands, cast creature and enchantment spells from the top of your library. So if you can solve it, a really good spell. Couple of ramp with Map the Frontier. Pathfinding Axejaw, enter and explore. Colossal Rattleworm has flash as long as you control a desert, which can be a nice surprise because this is like 6/5 beast for only 4 mana. Not too shabby. And then you can exile it from your graveyard to get more desert there. Deep Fathom Echo, this is the other card in the deck that if you get it early on, it can run away with the game. It explores at the beginning of combat on each and every turn. You can also have it become a copy of another creature you control until end of turn, which could work, but you do have to be careful not to have it copy a legendary creature, because then you'll have to make a choice on which one of those 2 to keep. The other one goes away. You probably won't make that mistake twice. Beanstalk Worm, 5/4 creature. For 5, you can play the Adventure first and play an additional land. Sometimes that doesn't work out. And then the big ones, 2 copies of Cactarantula. Cost 1 less if you control a desert. And then it has 6/5 in reach, and becomes target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you can draw a card. And then Bonnie Paul Clearcutter, which is your legendary giant scout, 6/5 with reach. When he enters, you get the Ox token you see to the right. Creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Then whenever you attack, you get to draw a card, and you can put a land card from your hand or your graveyard into the battlefield, which is kind of awesome. So again, potential game winners there. But you notice there's nothing in the entire deck that allows you to deal with artifacts or enchantments, which is a major problem, especially in the current meta. There's a couple of 3-drops that if they come out on curve on 3, you're really having trouble. But we're going to put it through its paces. So welcome to the newer subscribers. My name is Travis. You're at Tpull's Corner. We do ask you to like and subscribe. And our opponent is Silly Rapid. We're going to go through all 10 of the pre-made decks. This is number 3, I believe. I'm basically going in alphabetical order. The first 2 we were not completely impressed with, although it can be a little bit fun to play Crack the Case. But we're going to see if we can prove that just in this video series here, and with this particular video drop, if this particular deck is going to be competitive. So we explore, we get the interaction, that gives us the counter so we can block, but they're probably going to do this to just ramp and cast bigger spells faster. Most likely. Bucolic Ranch. They can look and get a mount card, but they need 3 other mana, which they could use that for mana to do it. They bring down a mount already, flying and lifelink. And they get to bring down 2 creatures all at the same time, because they could add 2 mana there just to bring that one down. Gross. So turn 3 and they've already got 3 creatures. Just lovely. And which one do we get rid of? We can't get rid of that one, can we? Not yet. Rootwriter Fawn does not help. This is like all we've got for right now. But this is going to be pretty easy. Oh, never mind. They have their own deal damage. They couldn't put it on the mount because the mount wasn't enough to take it out. Okay, I think we have to go ahead and ramp. And we're supposed to go look for the desert cards, right? Do some damage. The way these are configured, usually as soon as you get a desert down, it interacts with something else in the deck, yeah? They are running low on ammo. So that's 2 mounts. They get that back from the graveyard. Nice. A lot of flyers. I'm gonna need... These are my 2 biggest creatures, right? And they have reach. I'm gonna need it. And that can't be a removal spell, and I'm really in trouble. Which means I really need to block Archmage's Newt more than anything so that they can't resurrect their throw from the saddle from the graveyard as a flashback spell. Gigrog. And it has haste. Gross. And they have another throw from the saddle. I guess I'm drawing a card. That wasn't even a fight spell. That's a complete wipeout. We managed to ramp. We got more land, but they had 2 interactions already, and that's pretty much going to take us out. Yeah, there's nothing left for me to do there. Yeah, it's always fun when you try and trot on a new deck and Arena decides they're going to put you up against a perfect curve for the other deck. So they can cast 2 or 3 spells every turn. Let's see if we can have an average match. Okay. We've got some potential if the game lasts long enough. Okay, we're up against blue. I think Bristly Bill coming down on turn 2 is potentially awesome unless they just zap it away. Never mind, they zap it away. Easy come, easy go. Turn 3 and no castable spells. And that's a lot of sorting, which does allow them to get whatever kind of counterspell they were looking for. Oh, never mind. They're still digging, digging, digging. That's a lot of digging. They got rid of land. Okay, how about... Can you deal with a 5/5? They see my 5/5 and they raise it with a 5/5 with ward and a second spell that allows them to draw. So 2 spells a turn again for them. 3 spells. And it gave it haste. 3 spells! Okay, we get to do the +1 thing though, right? We control that creature, we go against you. We pay the ward. We get rid of it. And we get a land, and we get to attack. Okay, but that was only 1 spell, and we had to tap out for it. Let's see if they do another 2 or 3 spells this turn. There's 1. They like what's coming up. Okay, we play the land. We get to explore. And I think that's okay. Copy another creature. Yeah, just copy that for a turn. Why not? Little chameleon thing. Doesn't really duplicate any entry into battlefield type stuff. Do I do this now? Yes, we do. Alright, what's next? Copy another creature. We'll pass that this time. We'll attack for 4. And we play our 7th land, and that solves this. And what do we got left? 1 stun counter. You know what? We can save that. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. We've got 7 lands already, right? Surely we can skip 1 land. Okay, we can now play lands off of there. We can explore again. We can explore again. And Deep Fathom Echo can explore. Don't need to copy anything. They freeze that in place yet again. Okay, take out our heavy hitter. They didn't like anything they were scrying for, so they're back to digging. Aha. Chibi. Okay, we can play that down. We could play that down, but I think it's time to do this again. Yes. Pay the ward. Bring you down. Don't worry about copying stuff. Down to 1 point. Alright. The interesting thing is Deep Fathom Echo, the game lasted a little bit longer because we weren't able to hit with the Echo, but it did give us freedom with the other threats because they had to keep pinning that down. And I do like getting Case of the Locked Hothouse out, so I like being able to demonstrate that. Alright, there's potential for the deck after all, right? Let's keep going. Let's build up enough games. Let's build up enough data here to see how we feel about this deck. Took a little bit longer for the algorithm to find us an opponent. Is that going to punish us or not? It did give me 2 lands at least. 205 cards? Piece of cake. One of the big ones. We need a little bit more land, but we can start with what we got here. We can get going. This is a pretty good curve overall. I just want to make good on Beanstalk Worm if I can. Okay, I think we bring the Fawn down now, and that allows us to get the Herald Guides out in case we miss a land drop. I don't think we'll need to do any of the mana fixing. We're just playing green-blue here. So this is just going to be 1 extra green mana each time. Okay, now you need to leave me a comment and let me know when they start to do this stuff. I'm learning how to edit. I'm having fun with the end credits listing my Patreon. I've got a, on the community page, I've got a post asking about what kind of things you'd like to see for Patreon rewards. When that time is done, when that's up, I think what I'm going to do is sort of give a poll question about what kind of editing things that you need. But I'm wondering if they start to rope like that and it lasts for almost the full 30 seconds. You want me to just cut that out? You want me to like double time it? That was pretty quick. But I am starting to learn little tips and tricks with editing, so I can start tightening up these videos a little bit. And I want to ask y'all questions about, like in the old days. Hang on a second. Let me think. Yes. Explore. Still not getting our land drop. We'll see if they have more removal. They can convert that next turn, easy enough. And they go digging for more stuff. I need a bounce spell for the ready for the infantry. Okay, let's bring down the second Fawn, bring down the Herald Scout, let it explore. Please be a land this time, finally. Yay, we finally got a land. Do I... No. Maybe I should have. Maybe it would have been worth it to trade off with the Spell Spear right away, instead of letting them convert. I think I'm okay with letting either one of those convert, right? Let's go ahead. They're tapped out, so they should just take this. Yeah. And how about this puppy? Let's put out our big gun. Okay, I get to draw a card. And we're going to give that up. They're tapped out, so I didn't need to worry about them adding another spell onto that. Okay, I think we just bring down another big gun. And we can also bring down the Hard Bristle Bandit. They might have 4 copies of Fires of Victory, all right? They didn't kick that. They don't have the black mana. So they just did some drawing. Oh, now I'm getting all the lands, huh? Let's explore again. Okay, so I don't think we're going to make good on that. But we can't really get past the infantry now. He's built up too much. So I need to be able to dig through my deck a little bit faster. They've got a lot more resources the longer this goes on. Plus, they could just have a board wipe that does 5 damage. Use this now. And I can't really attack, right? Because they could cast an instant. Oh, never mind. They're just going to cast it on that and kill it. Second Fires of Victory. We can sort of, if they get rid of my next Beanstalk Worm, we can block with everybody and still block the infantry for now. But they could just get back a Fires of Victory real quick. Unless they're going to look for some bigger game-winning piece. They do have to reveal it, right? So we get to see what they're going to get. Blue Sun's Twilight, so they can just take over some of my stuff. And all we do is draw a land. Yeah, this is not looking good. All of the exploring and all of the ramp, and we got a lot of counters up front from our initial exploring, but I mean, we got some mana so we could bring down our creatures each time, but we didn't really cycle through our deck and get a lot of land draw. And that's kind of what this deck excels at, right? Is you want to cycle through and get your land drops fast in the early stages, and then get meaningful spells later when you get to the mid-game. And we're kind of doing the opposite. We got land starved here at the beginning of this match. And now the odds are we're just going to get a lot more lands and stuff like that. So all we do is a little deck thinning, and that may be too little too late. They've got a lovely little army, some of which is ours. And they were able to get a copy with that lovely spell. And look how they got 9 lands out. And we finally got 9 lands out with a ramp spell, which they did not need. And you're kind of seeing the limitations on the deck configuration of this, right? We can't deal anything with that enchantment. We can't deal anything with that enchantment case. We can't affect them in any way. And our 3 interaction spells to go ahead and deal damage to creatures are nowhere to be found, and they wouldn't work anyway. We couldn't kill a single one of these. Well, we could kill the 4s, right? Assuming they didn't have a counterspell handy. I did mention when we get to the mid-game, because we got land starved, we're much more likely to draw lands now, right? And this kind of shows you the limitations as well with the type of cards that they have. We've got some ramp cards, which don't sound bad to begin with. Right? A couple of 2 and 3 drops, which are not bad cards, but compared to what my opponent's using, look at what they get compared to what we get. Like, we can't even afford to wait on stuff like that. We need something bigger and better. I think they're just forgetting to attack. Or never mind, that gives them a whole extra turn, doesn't it? See, we got a 5-4 down, but it's just so outclassed by almost everything else already. And they get 2 extra turns in a row? I think they're playing with their food. They're just having fun with us. And look how many cards they haven't even gotten through now. They can afford to cast anything they want. And instants and sorceries get copied. And they get draw a card whenever they cast an instant or sorcery now. So, not too shabby. And because we have so little interaction, we've got the 3 deal damage spells and we've got the bounce spell. And those have not come up yet. It just feels so bad. You feel so powerless. We're so overmatched. I kind of like the way they have their deck put together, though. Yeah, we are the land of ramp, and they've outdrawn us on lands. They've got their engine in place. I think they forgot to target the copy, so they're massacring us, but they're messing up. They're playing very sloppy, actually. And really, they're only working with 4... Okay, they finally got a 5th creature of their own out. There's a 6th creature. I'm going to say a couple of those are ours. They finally got... They do have some more creatures in there somewhere. Hey, we drew a land. Wow. They still beat us on the land draw, even though we've been doing nothing but flooding out with land for a couple of turns. I wonder how long until they get bored and just put us out of their misery. It would be awesome if I had some secret board wipe in here that would take care of this, but they're literally so far beyond us. I could draw 7 spell cards for free and not be able to deal with this out of my entire deck. Okay, they're taking just way too long. I kind of don't mind seeing what they do, but they kind of froze on us. Okay, 2 losses, only 1 win. 1 loss to a perfect curve, 1 to a deck with a lot more overpowering spells than the chump stuff we had. We do sort of need to be able to ramp faster. Okay, we got a powerful spell. That is too good a spell not to pass up on. And it's tough to say you shouldn't include River Herald Scout. It's not the greatest, but when your opponent's putting down cheap stuff like that, I mean, it's a great chump blocker. Saves you from damage. Same with River Herald Guide. They're early game things. They do a little something extra for the value. Play the extra land. Go ahead and attack. First blood is ours. We've got a good start. We just need 2 more lands to really kick into high gear. We're going to be greedy with the Jadelight Spelunker. I kind of expected them to destroy that. Let's explore first. Okay, interaction, we might need that. So we play that, pass the turn. 2/4/6, we can play Bonnie Paul next turn. The 5/4 is a legitimate threat, so if they've got stuff, if they're destruction heavy, removal heavy, we're not expecting them to wait. Assassin's Trophy, so they get rid of... Yeah... No. I'm not going to get a land. I like that. I like having that spell handy. Why would they go for that instead of the Axejaw? They know I don't have the 7th land. So they get the Chump Blocker. Let's attack first. Now, unless they have a board wipe, if they could gain like 4 life and then still bring this in, they could get rid of the Axejaw just by summoning this down. If they don't have anything better, they'll have to bring that down to the Chump Block. 4/5 is not bad. But I have Huatli's Final Strike. All they can do is sacrifice, unless that's a 1-mana green spell that gives them indestructible or something. Nope. All right. That's game. Nope, they're going to have 1 life left. Bam, bam, bam. If they have a board wipe, we still get them. Okay, they can sacrifice those. Sacrifice that. Still bring that down as a lifelink Chump Blocker. And they can get rid of 6. They didn't go after Bonnie Paul. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, good game. They did what they could. Okay, the deck kind of worked the way it was supposed to there. Form familiar. I wonder how many of these I have. So we're kind of 50-50 so far. When the deck is firing, it's okay in terms of it being a well put together deck. It can fire on all cylinders, I should say. But it's one of those inconsistent decks where if you're not hitting things just right, you do fall behind really fast, it seems like. You really can't afford to get stuck. Okay, here's another. I just want to have one round where we have Bristly Bill stay and take advantage of the landfall for a time or two. Regular deck size. Probably not going to last, but we've got a nice curve here, so let's follow it through. You can search for a desert as well. Okay, they have the shock. This little 2-drop shock is turning out to be ever present in the red decks. And it's always in their opening hand, it seems like. Okay, we get the desert. That way it can be +1/+1 next turn. Actually, I think we just bring down Deep Fathom Echo, don't we? Yeah, you don't have nothing. That's a bluff. We want Deep Fathom Echo. We don't need to... Yeah, we could copy that, right? It just makes it weaker, though. I just like to copy it. And Menace! Okay, what do we do here? Pump that guy up. We explore. No. Another one. Let's attack with the 6/6. Yeah, you took away Bristly Bill, but... do you have a way to get rid of the Echo? And if they do, we don't care because we've got the right curve. They don't have an artifact to sacrifice yet. They would need to put down an artifact and cast 2 spells to get some benefit from this. You just get rid of this with another cheap shock. They choose to do nothing. Interesting. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is still the best. If they have a counterspell, they're going to use it on that, and that lets me attack with Echo again. Never mind. Explore. Ooh, bounce spell. We're not going to copy it. Oh, wait. We can copy... no. Oh, shoot. I did that wrong. Okay, so I'm going to keep this one. Didn't I mention right at the deck tech that you don't want to copy a legendary creature? Okay, we attack with that. We attack with that. That's fine. This lets me get a land card from the hand or battlefield. I don't have any land in... okay. See, I was thinking of the ability that they had. Their ability is not that impressive at this stage of the game, so I just did a major goof. That's only going to copy that till the end of the turn. They took the damage, though. Unless they have bounce spells, I don't know how they get rid of these. They just can't do enough damage. You know, there's not enough shocks and abrades they can chain together. Decline. Alright, I did a major foul paw there. I copied the legendary. And the ability wasn't worth copying. But I just kind of wanted to see it done. So, now you've seen it done, we can prove. We can have the Deep Fathom Echo copy the creature. We can have them activate. If they have a triggered effect, we can trigger the effect with our copy. But that copy only lasts for a turn. So, don't copy the legendary. That's right. I knew it, and I still played too fast. Do we surveil now? I don't have a 2-drop play. I can wait and see what we get. That's a little too much land. They want land. Give me a desert. We've already got enough to cast our most expensive spell. But they got dinosaurs. We were not able to ramp enough. Okay, so we'll play an additional land this turn. A 1 and a 2. Get rid of that one. We're still kind of behind. Three or more creatures. Great. We just have to block the raptor with this puppy. Oh, they're not even doing it. They're not even doing it. Because they don't need to, right? I mean, we can do this and take out one. And then we've got nothing left. All they needed was the 4 lands and the hulking raptor. And they actually had... And this is a pre-made too. And we can't even block that. Which there are some weaknesses of this deck, but we didn't have a way to remove that fast enough. They were actually able to outramp us. I mean, we can block that. That's it. Alright, their pre-constructed beat our pre-constructed. I think that's enough of a sampling. Let's go in and take a look at this again. Where are you? Desert Oasis. Alright, so yeah, if we look at the overview of it, 3.1 mana cost average. All of the premades I think have 25 lands. It's creature heavy, so it's meant to be a creature deck at 27 creatures. Not a lot of interaction. I would like something to do against enchantments and artifacts for a nice well-balanced deck in some way. And for bombs, we've got a good potential with Jadelight Spelunker. If Bristly Bill hangs around, he's pretty good. These are all kind of mid-range. Deep Fathom Echo's kind of awesome. And then you got Bonnie Ball and Cactarantula. So you've got maybe half a dozen really good stuff. And then a lot of this other stuff is kind of, I mean, it looks big and impressive and scary, but with as fast as the meta is, you're either not going to get these out fast enough, or they'll just have an easy enough removal to get rid of them. So I feel like this is missing interaction. I think it's missing power. Although, you know, it's probably going to do 50-50 just fine in terms of if you feel like you like the explore mechanic, if you feel like you like a good ramp deck. This does have a couple of ramp cards. It's got a little bit of way to sort through the deck. And probably the card that I enjoy the most, one that's most fun, is Case of the Locked Hothouse when you solve it. Just looking at the top card and being able to cast lands and creature and enchantment spells off the top. That's really kind of fun. But, you know, out of this entire deck, because they put 27 creatures in, I don't think there's a single... is there one enchantment? There's one. The one enchantment is actually the Case of the Locked Hothouse itself. So this didn't do the greatest synergy, right? Because you can play lands and cast creatures. So since they included 27 creatures, it's hard to complain too much. But they completely ignored any synergy that a good enchantment would have been able to do, especially in terms of if you were able to see it and cast it off the top of your deck after you solved this. So there's some more synergies there to think about. So I'm not sure how much you chain this up, but you saw in places where we were clearly outmatched, and I think this is just part of that rock, scissors, paper type things. This is going to do well against some decks and not so well against others. It wasn't bad to play. I'm not sure how fun it is just yet. I mean, if the most fun that I'm going to have is probably Case of the Locked Hothouse or getting a really good Jade-Light Spelunker. It's okay to play with Bonnie Paul. I'm not sure how fun that is. Deep Fathom Echo is impressive, but, again, on the fun scale, it's kind of okay. And the rest of these are just kind of boring, right? They're needed, right? The bounce spells can save you pretty nice, but you've got, a lot of, the Hard Bristle Bandit. I feel like those two can go. Because it's just more ramp. And I mean, exactly how much ramp do you really need in this deck? You've got a couple of different ways of getting lands out. You've already got 3 of the Root Rider Fawns as well. And then you've got the Explore mechanic so many times. So if I was going to upgrade this, I would ditch the Hard Bristle Bandits. I don't think they belong here. Maybe in some sort of plant tribal deck. Maybe they'd be better. Maybe these are cards like they better fit in limited and they shouldn't be in constructed. Okay, so not a complete dud, but not a knockout out of the park either, and probably not something I'd want to take into ranked either, which a lot of the early, you go back to like 3-4 years ago on Arena, and the pre-constructeds that they had, you could take them into ranked in the environment. And now I don't think you can. I think a good 3-drop artifact will wipe you out just easy peasy. I'm sorry for using that phrase, but it's all over YouTube these days. I think I've been infected. So in the meantime, we will stop there. We will thank our sponsor. We will ask you to like and subscribe. And the next month, I'll probably let this month's community post quiz on what you want to do for the Patreon page stay up there for just another week or so. And then I'll start putting up a new post to quiz you guys on what I should do as far as editing tricks to give me some good ideas on what I should be learning and studying. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.